Hi, this is Tim Daisy, Product Manager of EFI's MarketDirect Cross Media. And today we're going to create a cross media campaign. We're going to create that campaign in under an hour. That campaign will have a personalized URL where our participants can sign up for an open house. The campaign will drive participants into the Pearl through an email piece and or through a printed piece. And of course, that printed piece will have a QR code. It'll have a personalized URL bringing me right to my page. So let's go ahead and create a campaign that looks something like this. Here's the storyboard for what we're going to end up at the end of our hour. And this storyboard includes the invitation postcard that brings my users to a Pearl, an email that brings my users to a Pearl, and a generic lead generation page that collects information. Maybe if I have an ad in Google Ads, if I have a post on Facebook or LinkedIn that takes unknown leads and brings them into my final page. We'll send out a reminder for those who haven't signed up, and we'll also send out a don't forget email to occur a day before the open house. Of course, there's an unsubscribe page, and we can also create an email that goes to our press operator to allow them to pull up the PDF and send that out to the press. All right, so let's go and create the campaign. We'll go to Cross Media, we'll log in, and we'll start a new campaign. Creating campaigns is a 5-step process. The first step is the data environment. The data environment represents the database or perhaps the customer that we're doing this for. Now, we're doing this for our own print shop. I do have an initial list of customers and I'm going to add to them. So I'm going to create a new data environment and I'm going to create it from an uploaded file. So let's go and find that file and we'll pull it in. Now, the first thing we do when we create a new data environment is we need to set up the, well, first we'll give it a name. Let's call it GB and today's date. We'll say it's 4/6. The LP login represents how we're going to create the personalized URL. Now, what I like to do is to create a personalized URL that is human readable, that is actually personalized. So I'm going to use some content from the database. I'm going to use the first name, put a period in between, and the last name. So now all of the Pearls that are created automatically by Cross Media will be first name dot last name. All right. So we'll pull that in. The next step is where we set up the elements for the campaign. And this is the ability to really get to about 80% of a completed campaign. The campaign that we're creating is going to have an initial email, a printed document, and I also want to add a lead generation page. The Pearl will ask my existing customers to validate their address. The whole reason I'm doing this open house is to get a little bit more information about my customer and create a database that's a little fresher. And then we'll create a couple of reminder emails, and then we'll go to our theme. Now, I have a specific theme for my print shop. This matches the branding of my print shop to a certain extent. So we'll grab that theme. And now we'll add in our company information. So we are Gorham and Bass. We're at 10 Main Street in Peterborough. All right. We'll give the campaign a name. We'll give it the date. And we'll create our campaign. So based on those 5 steps, we're about 80% of the way there. Those 5 steps create a storyboard. And the storyboard is going to look similar to where we want to go, but it's not quite there. Now, the first thing that comes up here says some of the default forms are using columns that don't exist in your current environment. Do you want to configure them now? So we uploaded a database, and that database doesn't have a couple of fields that we need to be able to collect information from our customers as this campaign has been created. So the first field that's necessary is a field called password. And it's saying, all right, well, we'll just map it to something called internal one. Is that okay? No, it's not. I actually want to create a new column, and I want to call that column password. Company size has been automatically pointed towards company employees. Yeah, that's what I want. So I'm going to keep that as is. So very quickly, no matter what kind of data I'm pulling in, if I'm missing some fields, we can go and immediately map those fields. Great, great process. All right, so now we have our storyboard, we have all of our media types. Let's start to edit these media types, and we'll start with the email. Double click on the email, it brings me into my email designer. 3 panels in this designer. The right-hand side is the WYSIWYG. The center represents my tree structure. This is actually the tree structure of the HTML code that's behind the scenes. And then over on the far right is all of the properties for the email. So the first thing I want to do is I want to kind of update the message. We want to call this Open House 2020. And let's see, I'm going to do some cut and paste here. Let's clean this up. I want this email to be very clean, very basic. I'm going to get rid of an awful lot of this imagery. So let's do this. Let's get rid of the header. Let's get rid of this image. And this. I want to just make this really, really straightforward. I'm going to remove this stripe. I'm going to go in and I'm going to get rid of my social share. And I'll just leave the unsubscribe. I think that's important. I want to make the background all white. So we'll do that. I want this to be register because we want to register for the event. And I've got some content that we can grab. Let me just grab something from over on another screen. And we'll go and paste it. All right. Format a little bit better. Sincerely, Greg. Greg is president and CEO of Gorman Bass. And this is Greg's number. I don't want this headline here, this dear first name, to be quite so big. I'm going to delete that as well. And you know what? I'm going to just, again, try and keep this real simple, very basic. I don't need this to be flashy. These are existing customers. I'm sending out a very simple email to them. So I'm going to say dear, and then we will bring in the first name from my campaign database. All right. And let's put that in. Now let's do it like this, just to keep that carriage return from being in there. Go into my data, just kind of scroll through the data in my database, make sure everything looks all right. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Okay. Let's also grab a copy of that because I want to set up some of my email header information. The alt text is the plain text that will be displayed for clients which don't support HTML. So in other words, email clients that don't support HTML. So it's important that we have our message in here, concise, exactly what we want to get across so that if people have HTML turned off, they'll actually see that alt message. My preview text is what is previewed when I'm looking at a list of emails, I get 1 or 2 preview lines. That's what this line is. Again, very important that that message is concise. So maybe we just say open house on June 24th. Okay, great. Good. That doesn't look so bad. Um, yeah, so I tell you what, why don't we send a test email and we'll make sure this looks okay. And we'll send it to, I can scroll through data in the database. Of course, I have me in here. So let's send it to me. So I've sent that off and we can take a look at it. Let's give it a quick save. And you notice, I'm going to open up that email. Here's my email. Now, what happened here? All kinds of pictures, no changes. What happened? I sent it out before I saved and wrote all this stuff back to the database. Now, it's important. We don't have to be saving all the time, but when I want to go and execute actions, all of that data does need to be saved back to the database. So let's give it a save, and then let's resend that email and see how it looks. And we'll go here. We'll send the test email. Again, we'll send it to tim.daisy. We'll say OK. And that should pop through at some point. There it is. Let's pull it over. Yeah, there it is. Looks good. All right, let's make sure the link works. You can click on that. Brings me to my registration page. Now, of course, we haven't edited this. We haven't played around with this yet, but let's go there next. All right, so let's go back to our storyboard. And now let's edit our landing page. We'll double click on our landing page and let's go and edit it. So first thing we want to do is swap out our logo. Let's put the proper logo in here. I've got one that I've uploaded, my Gorham and Bass logo. Ooh, very, very tiny. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Let's do maybe 160 pixels. We'll see how that looks. Yeah, that looks pretty darn good. Nice, nice. Good. Like it. Let's make sure it looks okay on my phone. Oh, tiny, tiny, tiny. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Maybe we'll make that 120 pixels. There we go. Yeah, good. Let's edit the message. We want to say June 24th. Open house, combine print and win. More information. I want to change that to register. Yeah, good, 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 good. Says the open house, dear Tim, nothing, blah, 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 real experience, register, great. All right, I want to get rid of this here. We'll get rid of that stripe. And here's where we're gathering some of the information. It has country here. It has, an extra number over here. Let's edit that form. So one of the things that we do here in our editor is we don't edit the forms directly on the web page itself. And the reason why is because these forms are reusable. So we've created a centralized form repository where I can make those edits and then reuse it across all of my pages. So let's go in and let's start editing my forms. So there's my address validation. First thing, let's get rid of the country. All right, we'll get rid of that. Now I have a little bit of logic here around, if the country is the US, then show me a list of all of the states in the country. So I'm going to get rid of that little condition because we are in the United States. We'll say okay on that. And let's move some other things around. Let's get rid of that street number 2. You know what? I'm not real concerned about street address 2. We'll just keep street address 1, and then let's move things around. We'll bring the state down. We'll bring the city down. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Let's make sure that my registration page, so that's for the people that are coming in from outside of the campaign who I don't know who they are. Let's make sure that form looks good as well. Let's get rid of country. Again, let's edit that condition around show me the states if it's the USA. We're going to just assume everyone's from the USA. We'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of the street number 2. Again, notice that this isn't formatted, with fonts and colors and backgrounds. It's all strictly form information. Who is it? What database field does it map to? What's the sequence? The cool thing is then I can use this registration form on multiple pages without having to reformat and re-edit that information. Great, great stuff. All right, let's bring my state down. We'll bring my city down. So now I have address, city, state, zip. Yeah, that looks good. Survey, I'm not going to use it. Newsletter, we're not going to use it. Let's give it a quick save. And then we'll go back to our web page. Our landing page. We'll refresh it. And we'll take a look at it. All right. So there's our open house, registration. Okay, here's my form, email, address, state, city, zip code. Great. Love it. Let's see what it looks like in the browser. So at any point in time, as I'm designing this, I can go and publish it out and I can see what it looks like. So there we go. There's my page. This is over to the left. I'm going to want to center that. Yeah, this looks good. Not bad. Not bad. Good, good, good. Like it. Wonderful. All right. Let's go back to our storyboard and let's do some more editing. Let's go edit the postcard. All right, first thing we want to do. Now you notice the designer for the postcard, a little bit different, right, than the designer for a web page. Web page is not a static thing, and depending on what device is looking at it, web page will be formatted wide, it'll be formatted high, it'll be formatted narrow, all depending on whether I'm looking at it with a phone or a desktop or a tablet and what orientation I'm looking at. So lots of things can be done with a web page. Now, of course, with a printed page, very different. This is a true VDP tool. However, everything is fixed, right? Because we're putting ink on substrate. So let's go and do some editing here. Let's say we'll go and edit this. We'll get rid of the Saturday. When did we say it was? June 24th. And we'll say it is 2020. Let's put in the logo. And let's see, do we have a print logo here? No, let's upload my print logo. We'll pull that in. There's my print. Great. Actually, you know what? Let's do this a little bit differently. Let me just cut that. Let's go pull my image in and yeah, bring it down here. I like that. Okay, good. All right, let's do a little bit of editing over here. The address is kind of sloppy, so let's fix that up just a little bit. Salutation, first name, last name. Remember, we didn't want to use street 2, so let's get rid of that. Zip code, city, state, province, and then I have this extra field in here. Let's get rid of state. Let's cut that out. Put that in here. Let's cut out city. And we'll put that here. Nice. And let's just see how it looks. Miss Tim Day, blah, 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 blah. New Hampshire, Peterborough. That doesn't make any sense. We want city, state. Now, why didn't you guys tell me that? All right. Put that in there. Comma. Let's get rid of this comma and space. And let's see how that looks. And we'll just kind of scroll through the data. All right, notice I don't have a space after the salutation, so let's go and fix that. Salutation space. Excellent. Yeah, now it's looking a little bit better. Nice. Good. All right, let's switch out this message here. I've got that message over on another screen, so let me go and grab that. And we'll cut and paste it from my other screen, and we'll come over to this screen. We'll select all, we'll paste it. Good. Dear Tim, that looks good. Dear John, dear Aaron, excellent. Let's get rid of this logo completely. I don't need it. I want to make my QR code giant so we can scan it easily. Nice. Looks really, really good. Let's give that a quick save. All right, we're now back at our storyboard, and let's do a little bit of work here in the storyboard. So as we looked at earlier, we have the ways to get into our campaign. We have some follow-up emails. Let's work on those just a little bit. Let's move these things around just so we can see it a little bit better. I've got a couple of reminders. Now, what I really want to do is I want to send out a reminder if after X number of days I haven't heard from the people who I emailed or sent printed pieces to. So let's go and do that. Let's go and edit the reminder. And again, I want to make this just really, really simple. Let's get rid of just all of this HTML fanciness, and let's just stick with very, very simple emails. And I find that simple emails without a lot of the HTML coding get through easier. They tend to be paid attention a little easier. So let's take advantage of that. Let's again, we want to keep the unsubscribe there. So I'll keep that in. And let me just go, and I've got another page here I can copy and paste from. Let's go and grab that and throw it in here. Right. And this should be first name. And of course, I could have just as easily, instead of typing it, I could have right-clicked, gone into my campaign database and grabbed the first name, but sometimes it's just faster just to type things in. So just a reminder, we haven't seen your registration for open house on June 24th. We're ready to talk about your goals. Sincerely, Greg Bass, President and CEO, Gorman Bass. And again, let's make this register. Maybe we'll say last chance to register. Okay. So there we go. Give it a quick save. And we'll go back to our storyboard. Now, you notice all I did here was I just changed the text here on last chance to register. It's actually formatted as a link, right? I just grab, from the well up here, I grab my extension item and I can put it in there. So that's just a link. And that link is going, it's a button and it goes to a certain location. How is that location created? Well, let's go back to our storyboard. You notice there it is, last chance to register, just simply by dragging to a page. Let's go to final page just to show. That's how we create the link. It is as easy as that. No worrying about creating the code, getting the right URL. The cross-media, MarketDirect cross-media does it for me automatically. All right. So now the second reminder, this is, it's pointing to the registration page. I want to use that email as a, hey, one day before the event, we just want to send out a quick reminder. Okay. So let's go in and let's edit that. And we'll make this a little nicer, right? So the prospect has already committed to coming. So now we can keep this kind of fancy. All right, we'll pull in my logo. Let's put in our message here. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Don't forget, we're on at 4 p.m. at 10 Main Street at our Peterborough plant. The learn more, the social media connections, I'm going to leave that, because we've engaged. They want to come, so we can give them a little bit more information without perhaps turning them off. And let's see, we want to update so just in case maybe they gave us some wrong information, they can click that and it'll bring them back to their personalized URL and they can update that information if they want. So we'll give that a quick save. We'll go back to our storyboard and see what that looks like. All right. There's my storyboard. There's that. Good, good, good. Now, something else I'm noticing here on the storyboard, we've given the end user of the campaign the ability to unsubscribe, but I don't have an unsubscribe page. So let's fix that. Let's go over here to my media. Well, I do have an unsubscribe page here. Let's pull that over. And automatically, any place where I have an unsubscribe button automatically goes and unsubscribes here. Let's go and edit that page real quickly. Let's get rid of all of this fanciness again, and we'll just say, hey, we'll miss you. We'll swap out the logo. Right, there we go. There's all my information. And yeah, that's good. I like that. There's my storyboard. Now, the one thing that we don't have here is we don't have the ability to send the print piece to an email operator. Now, of course, the email operator can go into the back end of the application and they can execute the print job, they can impose it, etc., all within the cross-media application. We also have the ability to just send a reminder out to that print operator that, hey, here's where the file is, download it and run it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let's create a print operator email. So I'll go into email. It's we'll just say it's a marketing email, and we're going to call it a print operator email. Okay. And that should show up down here at the bottom of my well. We'll pull that over here. I'm not going to hook it up to anything because we're going to execute it in our workflow automation. So before we go in there and edit, let me just do a quick cut and paste from off screen, and let's go in and edit this. All right. Let's get rid of all of this. We'll delete that. We'll delete this. We'll delete this. And we'll delete this. And I guess I could have just selected all of them and deleted. That might have been faster. Let's just throw a text extension item in here. Nothing fancy. We'll put in Hi Pat. And we're going to, here's the print job for 2 Gorman Bass. It's ready here. Now, the squiggly link here, this is a system link. So this will go directly and this will automatically copy in a link to the PDF for the print job in this particular campaign. So when I send this off to the operator, it's going to have a link for the job here. Okay, so we have some more editing that needs to be done. We haven't touched our lead generation page. We haven't touched our final page. So let's quickly go in and do some quick edits there. I won't spend too much time in here, but let's go and swap out our logo. There we go. What did we make that last time? Oh, I think we made about 150 pixels, right? And on the mobile side, we made about 120. So I'll do that. Yep, that looks good. Beautiful. Go home or win. Go big or go home. Let's see. We did something like open house or some June 24th. Right. We want to do that. We'll leave that customer success. Now let's go and edit this. Because this is the lead generation page. This is the page of people, we don't know. People that are coming in maybe from our website or from an ad that we've placed. So these are unknowns. So they don't have a connection to us. So I think it is important that we, put a little bit of, tooting our own horn here. So let's put in something from, our customer at the Vermont Cheese Association. Let's just bold that from Hannah. Yeah, good. So, and there's, my form, nicely fixed, city, state, zip. There's the register. Let's swap this out for what we want. Let's put in our Gorman Bass logo there. Good. All right, so we'll go back to our storyboard and we'll do the same thing on the final page. Swap out my logo. And we'll make that 150. And we'll make the mobile version of it 120. Nice. And we just want to say thank you. Good. Excellent. And we do need to put a little bit of information here. And we'll see you on June 24th. All right. Swap this logo out. Great. Let's go back to our storyboard. And there we go. Give it a quick save. And we'll summarize what we've done so far. So we've created our medias. We've created the links between the medias. But when is this executed? When does this go out? When does this go out? In fact, let's give this a new name. Let's rename that to day before email reminder. And let's spell before properly. There we go. So we have our reminder email for those people who didn't sign up. We have the day before that goes out, just to say, hey, don't forget to come tomorrow. You said you were coming. We've created our unsubscribe page, and we have all of the links between them. What we haven't created yet is the automation. When does that day before go out? Well, we know it needs to go out on the 23rd, but there was nothing in the creation of the document that says go out on the 23rd. When do we print this? When do we send that to the print shop? When does the email go out? And who gets the email? All of those things are created in my workflow automation. The automation workflow is where we set up the automation for the campaign. It's where we define who gets what, when they get it, when things happen, all of the things that you would expect in a marketing automation application. It's all drag and drop. It's all very visual. So I can select, I can move things around, I can check the links, I can reset the links. It's all pretty straightforward. So let's go and create the automation for our campaign. The wizard that we went through at the top of the hour set up this for me automatically. I have a direct mail piece. I have an email piece. Some people received it. Some got bounced. Those who received it get a reminder. Those who received that reminder get another reminder. So it's pretty basic, but I want to change things around. But before I do that, as I test this, as I try it out, I don't want to try it out on my existing database. I want to try it out on a tester database. So I'm going to bring in a bucket. And a bucket just represents a filtered view of my database. And I'm going to use a system-specific bucket called the tester bucket. And the tester bucket allows me to execute the campaign and then delete the events as that campaign happens. You notice I have an error flashing here saying, hey, in this tester bucket, I don't have any records. So let's go in to my main database. Let's open this up and let's add a couple of tester records. So I'm going to right click on Tim, add him to the tester bucket. And I'm going to right click on Pat and add Pat to the tester bucket. So that's going to put 2 people in my tester bucket. If I click on there, that brings in Tim, it brings in Pat. All right. So now we have a tester. I'm going to disconnect the workflow from my main database, and let's do that. Let's delete this connection, and we'll delete this connection. And instead, we're going to connect these. So now I have my tester, and I can go and play with this and execute it. And as events are added to tim.daisy, at any point in time, I can go and delete all of the events from the test users. That's the significance of a tester bucket of a test user. So now for Tim Daisy, there's no more events underneath his name. Okay, let's move things around. Let's bring this down here. And the first thing I notice is in my default workflow, my direct mail action is red. There's an issue with it. Okay, so I need to go and configure that action. And the problem is that the direct mail piece needs to go to a predefined print workflow. So am I going to impose it with other similar sized jobs? Am I going to hold it in a queue and release it to the press at a certain time? All of those things need to be configured in my print workflow, and that happens in the back end, and we won't be getting into that today. However, I have created some print workflows. I have a spot color print workflow. I have my print workflow code name WSC 200218. I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to use that as my print workflow. You know, as soon as I do that, the direct mail piece becomes blue and is no longer red. How many do I want to send to that print workflow at a time? We'll send it in blocks of 1,000. At the moment, I only have 6 records in my database. I'm hoping that will increase before we execute. But this is a way I can create PDFs with a limited number of individual records in there. Okay, so I'm going to do my direct mail. Let's do that. So that's good. So let's actually do something else here. You know, just in case we get a lot of records in our database and we don't want to send them all a printed piece. Let me just delete these connections. And we're going to do something a little bit different. Let's move this over. Let's move this over. And I'm going to do a filter. I only want to send a direct mail piece to those people for whom I don't have an email address. Okay, so I want to create a container. We'll say contains. And let's move this over here. And what I want to do is I want to say that the email address contains the @ sign. Okay. And when I connect it up, and we'll give it a quick test. We'll execute the filter. What that'll do is that'll go through everybody in my tester bucket, Tim and Pat. And for those that have an email address, it'll go to match. And those who don't, it'll go to non-match. And while we're waiting for that to happen, let's rename this. We'll call this email exists, and we'll call this no email. And again, just by naming these properly, it helps me read it and see it a little bit better. All right, so for those who we don't have an email, I want to send them a direct mail piece. For those whom we do have an email, I want to send them an email. All right. So now everybody gets an email. This is the initial email receivers. The initial emails failed. If the initial email fails, I want them to get a direct mail piece as well. So we'll set that up. Now we get the email receiver. Let's go and delete this, because what I want to do is if somebody who received the email, let's move this over. If they received the email, then and they filled out the page, then we want to send them a reminder, a day before the event, to come to our event. If they don't reply back to us, then I want to send them that reminder email. Remember, if I go back to my storyboard, we have this reminder. Hey, what does it say? It says, just a reminder, we haven't seen your registration for our open house. Last chance to register, right? So we want to create that workflow. All right, so how do we do that? We're going to create an event filter. We'll pull that over here. Where did it go? Where did that event filter go? Let's delete this. I double clicked on it and I created two. So let's pull this over. And let's pull this here and this here. All right, and then we'll pull all of them up to here. Okay, so now what's that event filter going to do? The event filter is for the current campaign, our GB46 campaign. And what I want to do is if I visited that final page, and I'm going to go back to my storyboard, if I make it to the final page, that's because I filled in the landing page or I filled in the lead generation page. So I'm in the database and I've signed up for the event. So if I've done that, then I want to make sure that that person gets a reminder a day before the event happens. Okay, so let's go and configure this. The event type is that we visited. Let's just type a V in there. I visited the final page. Okay. And so let's call this final page visited. Well, let's call it signed up. And we'll call this one did not sign up. And let's connect these up. All right, so we're getting there. So now we have people that have signed up for the event. We have people that didn't sign up for the event. For those who didn't sign up for the event, we want to remind them, right? So after, say, 3 days, we want to send them another email, right? And what is that email? We want to send them the reminder email, and we want that to be as soon as possible after the 3 days. Okay. For those who did sign up, we also want to send them an email, but we want to send them that don't forget to show up email. So let's go and drag in a send email action. We'll pull that over here. Let's bring that just a little bit closer. And what are we going to do? Of course, it's an email from this campaign. We want to send the day before email reminder. I want it to go out on a specific day. So let's send it out. Let's do it Eastern time. And we'll pick a specific date. The event is on the 24th. So we want to send it out on the 23rd. And let's say we'll send it out at 2:30 in the afternoon. Okay. I could send additional ones as I wish, but that's good. I like that. We'll connect that up. And everybody who signed up will get that reminder email the day before the event. Now, how do we get this all working? Well, first thing, of course, we have this connected to our tester workflow. So we probably want to give it a shot first by doing a start workflow, running just our tester accounts, Tim Daisy and Pat Okwasik, through this and seeing how it goes, right? And after we've gone and run this and we're good with it and we're happy, we'll go and we'll delete the events from the test users, but first we'll stop the workflow. So we want to delete all of the events that have happened during my testing period so I don't muddy up my data. We want to get rid of this connection here. And we want to create this connection here. Before we start this, one thing that you'll probably remember is if I go to, let's say, any of my web pages and we view them, those web pages show a URL of preview.xmediaservice.com. Probably not the nicest personalized URL you've ever seen. So of course you can purchase domain names through GoDaddy or however you purchase your domain names. And those domain names can actually be added to the campaign. So I go into my campaign settings and I set up those domain names. So I have Gorham and Bass.com. I have also www.gorham and Bass.com. And so if I were to hit gorhamandbass.com, voila, it brings me to that URL. So within an hour's time, we went and we created a cross-media campaign. And that cross-media campaign included printed pieces, emails, personalized URLs, a way to get into the campaign from outside of my database, some reminder emails, the ability to unsubscribe, and the actual VDP print documents. I hope this was helpful. I hope it was informative. Of course, this was a very straightforward campaign, but I think you'll see that the MarketDirect Cross-Media Designer is a very straightforward designer without having to code, without having to go to QR code applications, no connecting of the different media types. It all just works. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at EFI and we'd be happy to answer them.